Hello, crafty cuties. Welcome back to Paper Terrace, and if you're new, my name is Jessica. Today, I am going to share with you what I sent to my Patreon members for the month of July. So I'm going to show you some journal packs that are a 70s theme. And I'm going to also do a little junk journal layout with you. Today is the day that I am going to talk to you about my kitty passing away. So I couldn't bring myself to do a face-to-face video on that yet, but I did want to share with you. I felt like talking about it today. So I'm going to do a full journal layout. We'll get back to that and go over the pictures I printed in just a bit. Let's get started with the different journal packs, and I'm going to show you 4 different tiers. I left out a couple, but these were just what I had left over. I was completely sold out this month, so thank you guys so much for your support. And I know that if you are someone who's been trying to grab a spot, I know it's sold out, and trust me, I wish I could open spots for everyone, but if you are a free member, I will always post in there when I open spots. However, if you randomly check, there are open spots available sometimes because of people like canceling or changing a tier. So let's go ahead. I'm going to show you what I sent to my Lilies members. So this month I made these collage treat bags, and I will try to link this window bag on the video. In the lower left hand corner of the video, there should be a little button that says view products, and it should have this from Walmart. And so my Lilies, I also sent a little journaling card that was kind of like a 70s theme. They're all a bit different. Little welcome note, a little 70s die cut. Now these are a bit brighter than what I was going for, but I felt like they really fit the theme at the same time and super cute. I hope that you'll have fun using them. And then I couldn't spare much, but I had enough to give my Lilies members the tiniest little piece of fabric, which is the fabric of the month that inspired the whole collection. So I did give you a little like postage stamp size, or they might vary a bit. Hopefully you could do something fun. I was honestly thinking it could be cute on the bag as a little snippet, or you could, create something if you wanted. Let's go to my Rose members. I ended up having to send some of my Rose members mail in a large policy envelope because I messed up on 100 of the items I made and made them all a little bit too big. So, okay, Rose members, you also get one of these. Now on these ones, for my Rose members, you also will get this little sewn pocket that was made on a sewing divider card, and then you'll get your little die cut. This is another one of the die cuts. The sewing cards are just plain with the fabric pocket, but I think that you will have fun. Now if you want, when you are putting them in your pocket, you can either situate it so you can see what's like in the pocket, or try to show you kind of what that could look like if you situate everything, how you want. Or you could add something else straight into the treat bag. You could turn this over, use it as a base, put like a picture here or something like that. I will be excited to see what you guys did. These collage bags are so much fun. I hope that in person you'll see all of the detail. I collaged a napkin on. I did stamping. My arms are literally sore from the stamping. And then I did paint splatters. Rose members also get a little 5-piece basics pack that has things like tags, collage cards, and some stickers. My orchids, and I've mentioned this several times, but I am at some point hoping to phase out my orchid spot and phase it into my Wildflower tier. That way I just have the one. And I have actually had some orchid members say, okay, I would be happy to move to the Wildflower tier, but there's no spots available. And I know that, trust me, it's a work in progress. I'm nervous because if I open up the spots, it just becomes available to everyone publicly currently, there's not a good way for me to be able to just offer it to Orchid members. So I am brainstorming that. Anyways, let's get on. So the Orchid members, you also get one of the collage bags. It's basically everything that you see in the last year with more added on. Little welcome note. And then these members will get your little sewing divider pouch. You will get your journaling card. You will get your die cut. And then I also I did a little stamped fabric piece. Some of the fabric might be muslin, but I also used this striped vintage sheet that I thought was fun. I added a little snippet that can be used as like a tab. So if you wanted to put a tab on the top of your sewing card or on the bag, or use it however you want. And then of course, a little snippet of the fabric. And I did use my shears on all of the fabric snippets. I just thought it looked a little bit cuter and maybe more ready to go, I guess. And then also Orchid members get a 10-piece basics. So again, just a variety of those basics. 10 different pieces in there. And then for my Wildflower members, and I'm going to show you the journals of the month in a separate video because I'm not quite done. Well, I mean, I did typically, I guess I showed you what they look like, but what I mean is they're not all complete. So I'll do a full video so that you can see how all of the monthly journals turn out, even though they're basically going to be very similar. Wildflower members, and so you'll see how much more packed this one is. So it is a little bit more expensive, but I try to make it worth your dollars. So you get the welcome, you get your collage window bag, and those are all decorated pretty similar. But where it really makes a difference is the details that I'm adding onto the Wildflower members items. So I'm gonna try to do this a little bit more organized. So you will get your sewing card. Now, this tab and this one were attached just because I was using this as a prototype. So you will get your fabric piece for the tab and you'll get your stamped piece separately, okay? They won't be attached, but now you can kind of see one thing that you could do with those. Your cards will actually be embossed, and I thought that was such a cute little detail. It made such a difference. I did not ink the back, so you could kind of play that in your favor. You could do all kinds of different things. If you want it to peek through the window, it looks really cool. It's more noticeable in person. You could ink that up if you wanted. Yeah, you could do different things that way. I also inked up the bags on the Wildflower members. This one I didn't because, again, this was a prototype, so it's a little bit different, but just trust me on that. And then you will get a 70s trivia card. They're all going to be a little bit different. You will get your little die cut. Again, those vary. Oh, here's an idea of those little fabric pieces that you get separate. I just had those extra on mine. You will also get a little snippet, and every month for the Wildflowers, you either get like a snippet, a dangle, a layered embellishment, something like this. And this month, these ones also, I included an eyelet, so it's like ready to go for you. You'll also get a bulb pen, but it's not attached just because it doesn't go through the mail very easy that way. So your bulb pen will just be in your package. And so if you want to add it, you can. But these little layered embellishments I thought were really cute. I really love how they turned out. And then you actually get a 15-piece basics. So this is a really good way to add these basic things to your stash. And I feel like I try to include really fun things. They are basic, but so baggage claim, tickets, or tags, merchandise tags, all the things that typically you would have to buy in bulk. But I'm hoping that, you can benefit from not having to buy in bulk. Some guest checks. I think there's like 2 in here. collage papers, and they don't always, these basics aren't always going to 100% match the theme, but I do always try to add some things that will match in case you want to use them all together. And then some little label stickers and fun little smiley face stickers. So that was fun. I loved the Wildflower pack this month. Honestly, way more than I thought I was going to. I had an extra little charm in my stash, so I put that here because I think I might want to use it. So now for the journaling. And I'm going to talk about Kitty. And if you guys didn't know, or if you're new, my kitty did pass away a couple weeks ago, and this is my kitty. He was only 3. I'm gonna get on with the journaling and then I'll talk about him as we're moving. But by the way, I did go ahead and print these on my lovely Leanne printer, my Pix cut. I'll put a code down for you guys down below if you're interested in getting one, and it is, I think, a 15% off code, which is cool. You can get it on Amazon or I think through their website. And then I also printed some stickers. I printed these like a couple weeks ago, but I grabbed them just in case I want to use them on my journaling. But yeah, I was able to print these out so nicely for my journaling session today. And I'm just going to give you a quick little peek at the printer in case you've never seen it before. If you want to see more about the printer, I will link below a full video, but I was just wanting to give you a little peek and show you some of the pictures that I printed on this day, some for the journaling layout and then some for my daughter's room. Okay, I'm going to choose this page. I like the ledger paper with these things. And I think, let's see, I think I'm going to just kind of figure out where I want things, and then I'll do a little bit of talking. Ooh, I was thinking that this kind of plaid bag could actually go really cute. So let me just kind of map this out. I know that I want to use this little layered embellishment. Ooh, it could be cute at the top here. And then let's see if I could put it, trying to decide. I might also, trying to think, I might use that back page if I have more than enough. Ooh, we could kind of go off the page and have the dangle. That could be, okay, I think I like that. I know that I want to use this little snippet because I'm obsessed with the fabric. The pictures, I'm not sure exactly. I think I might have them kind of peek through. But, okay. I'm gonna remember what, I want to see what this one looks like real quick after it's in the pocket. Okay, I do like that. Let me see how these pictures would peek through. Okay. I think I'm going to actually cut these pictures up. I know, I mean, I could keep them as a full collage, but I kind of want, I like to be able to take things out of pockets and whatnot. By the way, this is like a little AI, my chat GPT helped me create this when I was coming up for tattoo ideas. But yeah, I thought that was pretty cute. I might actually want to put this kitty picture somewhere. Oh yeah, I think I want to put that actually on like the cover somewhere, and then the rest of the pictures will be away in the pockets. And I am going to do some journaling like off camera later. But so my cat had ear mites, and he was only an indoor kitty. Okay, so it was a little odd that at age 3 he had ear mites, but he did have them as a kitten, so it wasn't that odd. So I had made an appointment because they got pretty bad just out of nowhere. And the more I talk about this and look back, things start to click and make sense. And maybe there were signs earlier, which that kind of breaks my heart, and it's a little hard to talk about because I often wonder if I would have caught things earlier, if, you know, things could have been different. But at the same time, like I would have been faced with a lot of other challenges, as you'll see here as the story goes on. But so we noticed just a few random things, but the ear mites were not a big deal. We took him into the vet and they did a checkup, said everything looked okay, gave him some medicine, and she offered steroids, and I get a little nervous about certain things being offered when I don't know much about it. And I thought, does he need steroids for ear mites? But the vet techs basically said, you know, his ears are pretty swollen, so yes. And so I felt I had a weird feeling about the steroids. And so I even asked ChatGPT, like, is this necessary? And it kind of gave me a yes, no, like it could be, but maybe not. But I ended up just trusting the vet, went with it. So we get him home, and basically days after we get back from the vet, he does start acting a little weird, as in he was spraying, and he never really sprayed before this. So that was, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to go off and on because I was just thinking that little daisy could be really cute peeking through and then keep the pictures more secretive, which I kind of like. So I think I'm going to put these on the pocket. But yeah, so he started acting like a little off, but like I said, it was just very random things. It was things that could be completely normal. But I did call my vet because I had a gut feeling that something was kind of wrong. And so I called, told them everything that was going on. There were a few other things, like he just kind of was not acting himself, but then again, he would be fine also. So the vet told me different things to look for and said, I think it's okay. I actually made an appointment to get him neutered because we thought that that's really all that, like, that would be a good time now to get him neutered, because he was 3, so that's a little old, but not like too bad. A couple of the other symptoms, just in case anyone wants to know, that we were noticing, but they were things that he had always done, was he was drinking a lot of water, and he always had a huge appetite. But when I say he always drank a lot of water, but he always did as a kitten. And so sometimes at the vet, they would ask if that was anything that we dealt with, and it was, but they were like, okay, well, you know, it's probably fine on its own, but obviously, keep an eye on that sort of thing. And so after the ear mites appointment, it seemed like that had increased. So again, that was one of the other symptoms that I had mentioned to the vet. And again, they said, just keep an eye on it. If he starts throwing up, getting lethargic, anything like that, then make him an appointment, but didn't sound like anything too concerning. Well, it seemed like he was losing weight. And when you're with a cat 24/7, you don't always notice these types of changes. So it actually took someone else to mention that they thought he had lost weight. Hans was mentioning that he noticed that the cat looked a little bit different. And then I decided to go ahead and actually make him an appointment, because I thought, I was just like, okay, I wanted to go with my gut. Long story short, that appointment ended up getting canceled. And then the next day, he seemed like really good. So I was like, okay, well, that's odd, but you know what? Like, I guess maybe is perfectly fine. And so he seemed like he stopped spraying, not as much, but then about 4 days after that or so, things started to get a little bit worse. And one morning, basically when I woke up, he started seeming pretty lethargic, and he threw up the night before. So I tried to get him in that day, but there wasn't an appointment. And so by the time it was getting pretty late, it was like midnight, and long story short, I realized that we could not wait another day. We had an appointment the next morning, but I realized that we could not wait. So I ended up taking him to the emergency room around midnight, because by this time it happened so quick. All of a sudden he was very lethargic. Just very lethargic, not eating, not drinking. And so I took him into the emergency room. They were at capacity, almost couldn't take him. But she said, well, you know what? She goes, I want to have my vet tech take a look at him, and I'll go from there. So she did, and she said, okay, he's not looking good, so we are going to take him in, basically. And I was like, oh no. I was really just hoping that I was overreacting, and that maybe he had a UTI or something like that, because as I mentioned, he was spraying, and I wondered if he was actually peeing, not spraying. But when I explained it to the vet, and I even I was looking up on YouTube, everything, it seemed like, okay, wait, no, I think he is actually spraying. Well, so the vet tech takes a look at him. She comes in and basically gives me the news that she ran his labs. Nothing was looking good. He had something called, or she was very confident that he had something called DKA. And I don't know too much about it, but it's a type of diabetes. Normally, she said she would see it in older cats, not young. So this was a little odd, but that's basically what he had, was this. I don't know if it's a rare form of diabetes, but it's like a type, or it's connected to diabetes. It has to do with ketosis and all these things. You know, she explained it to me, and she basically said, though, because it came on so quickly and because he was at such an unstable point, his heart rate was no good, his body was shutting down. Like, it happened quick, and that can be normal in cats that have DKA, apparently, but I guess normally, like, it wouldn't happen until they're much older, or I don't know, there's different things. So she basically gave me options and said that if we wanted to treat him and get him to a point where he's stable, it's going to cost around $8,000 just to get him stable. And then from there, he's going to be a diabetic kitty that we have to treat, you know, with insulin every single day. She said it's going to be months before he was even at a place, because of how bad he was so quick. It was going to be months before he was at a place where we'd even be able to get him to a stable spot, living healthy and comfortably. And I had to make the tough decision in the middle of the night, you know, without my kids being able to say goodnight. I mean, we thought he was coming home with us, you know, they didn't really even say. Arlo did lay down on the floor and actually say bye to him, but my son, like, we just didn't think that was gonna be goodbye. There wasn't even enough time for my kids to come give him a hug, anything, because I had to make the hard decision to put him down, because not only could I not come up with $8,000 or $9,000, I knew that if I needed, I could probably come up with that amount of money somehow, some way. I know that you guys would have pulled through for me. I knew that that would be the selfish option because I wanted more time with him. I knew that and there was no chance that he was even going to make it through the night at this point. She said that, you know, he was very unstable at this point. And so I made the hard decision to put him down, and it was one of the hardest nights of my life. He was super special to me, and I'll talk about that more in a different day, but I'm so glad you guys got to meet him and see him in so many of my videos. And he did not have enough time on this earth. He did not have enough time living with us, but I'm so grateful for the 3 years that we did have him. I sometimes will lay in bed and think, gosh, I feel like I did see signs. What if? But yeah, you just can't really do that to yourself, but it's also nearly impossible. I wanted to say the reason I also mentioned I was kind of going into depth about the part where when he had the ear mites, he got that steroid shot. And I told you I had a weird feeling about it. And the reason I brought that up is because I did some reading afterwards, and I did read that steroid shots are not very good for cats who are diabetic. And in fact, it can instigate, that's not the word I'm looking for, but it can basically induce DKA or diabetes if you have a cat who's diabetic and not being treated for it. And so, yeah, of course, part of me, again, there is no way that I would have been able to, no, I feel like I should have put this on this side. But if at all this can be helpful to you, you have a cat that drinks a lot of water, that is obviously a sign of diabetes, and I didn't quite know that because it was something so normal for him. And then towards the end, I think looking back, I don't know that he was necessarily spraying. He could have, that could have been a stress thing, but that he could have been actually peeing a lot, because again, that's another sign, I guess, that you would look for. So it all does make sense, but it's just heartbreaking. That was a little harder to get through than expected, but I just wanted to share it with you guys. Like I said, I wanted to talk about it, and so thanks for listening to that. I'm almost done with this layout, and I'm gonna add one of these stickers that kind of goes along. I moved the sticker to the left side because I felt like it looked better with this being down here. And I'm gonna go ahead and just glue this down. I don't feel like I should have to say this, but I really hope the comments can just be kind, because you know, my heart is struggling right now. So thank you guys for your support. I think I'm done with the layout. I'm gonna do journaling later tonight on this paper, and then I'll just put it back in there. And I also like to add, when I have welcome notes, I'll add them just that way I can kind of see all of the details about the monthly journal packs when I look back on my own journal layouts. I have been loving including like my own personal things in these Patreon layouts. Ooh, I think I'm gonna pop that up like that. And I was thinking about adding another little picture of him, sticker. I do kind of want to test these out because I thought these were quite sticky. I don't really want to ruin this, but let's see here. Maybe I can use this as some journaling later. I love the picture of him. Because I tried to reposition one of these stickers once, and I felt like it was hard to take it off very well. Okay, I mean, it comes off, I guess, easy, but I don't feel like it's 100% not gonna like fall off. So I guess if I was going to be using one of these stickers on something that I was like, this needs to stay on, I'd probably use glue. But I do know a lot of people would like to use these stickers on like harder surfaces and stuff. But I will say I've been using these in my journals, and I have not had an issue at all. I feel like there was definitely a time I put it on a certain paper where I tried to reposition, and it did start to tear the paper. So I don't know, there's that. We'll just keep the little sticker of Kitty right on that guest check, and I'll layer these papers because I love that look. I'm gonna add an extra little tab actually on this side, and then that way I will probably have more than enough journaling that I want to add to this page, because I might also talk about the journal packs and all of that. There we go. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for listening to me talk about Kitty. I actually really love how this layout turned out, and I hope that you guys love your monthly journal packs or loved watching me do a junk journal layout. I'll see you guys soon, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.